Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. Welcome to our latest and greatest episode of the Secrets of the High Demand Coach podcast. I'm here with a relatively new friend, but it feels like we've known each other for ages. But that is the great Jeff Abbott here with us today. He's a chairperson at Convene. And Jeff, anyone who knows him will know he's a proven leader. He spent his time and kind of earned his stripes in the aircraft and space industry with 25 plus years of operations experience from the ground floor all the way up to president of the organization. Jeff is active in his community, serves as a Convene Chair, which is how I met him, and helps dozens of CEOs and has been doing so since 2003. Now, I know, when you hear helps lots of CEOs, it can be like, well, what's that like? Well, like these are not necessarily like your brand new CEO coming out of the gate. He does that too, but some of these are billion-dollar organizations, and they look to Jeff for wisdom and advice. And what I know about Jeff more than any of those is just the character of the man with us today is profound. So, Jeff, thanks so much for being on the show. I'm so glad that you're here, and would love for you to just share with our listeners today your story. How did you get into coaching? What were you doing before that? And what's the big why for you driving all of it?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. And I love talking to you. You're an exciting person to know. I started out really with going way back. I was interested and involved with leadership, even back to the Army. I was a sergeant in the Army. I got out of there, went back to school, got married, got back to school, and learned industrial arts. And my plan was to be a school teacher, but it didn't do it for me in terms of the challenge and things like that. So I went back in industry, trying to find a management role. And at the time, honestly, I just wanted any role. I just wanted to get on that ladder and just start going as high as I could, because that's what I really thought I was cut out for and what I really enjoyed. I did tool maker kinds of things. I was a technical kind of guy, but it didn't satisfy me at all. And I found myself distracted and making a lot of mistakes. So what I really wanted to do is get into management and just get the higher level, right? So that kind of describes my strengths and weaknesses. I'm a higher level kind of thinker, and I'm not into the details. So I have to learn with everybody else learning about how to be a non-detail person and be successful. So I got into this role as a quality director at an aerospace company. I kept ascending to finally president. And that's when I really realized the power of a team. And I had a great team around me. I kind of have a little bit of clown in me, so I love to have fun all the time. I like to make work fun, and it was fun for my staff. And I had guys that were working for me that are MBAs, and so I was not an MBA. I was more like steeped in the process of the company, and I had a lot of fun. I made it sort of a game for me to make great aerospace parts. So I just got up to the top. And I was in a public company. So my operation was running so well, my corporation asked me to run all the similar three divisions of the company that were lookalike. And the higher I got in the organization, the more political it got. And I was a kind of guy, I was just always pushing the limits. I was doing lean and continuous improvement, and there's breakthrough improvement, things like that. And that stuff tends to be a little risky from the profit and loss standpoint. And my corporation changed their leadership, and a guy that was a total processor was put into the role, and he did not like any variability. And so I was all about variables, and I ended up, being replaced with somebody else. It really surprised me, because I've been in the company almost 20 years, and I have been making it successful. And so I found myself on the street looking for another job, a lookalike job for the one I had. And my career coach said, Jeff, I'm looking at the tea leaves of all the things that you're saying about your life. You need to look for something with more purpose. And so it ended up that Convene at that day, in those times, was called BBL Forum. I looked into it. I saw one video of how it works. I said, that's what I want to do. And I never looked back.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
So I started building the groups, and here I am today. I just handed off one team, but I've had 3 teams for almost 19 years.
So tell us a little bit about Convene, and particularly from the lens of why did that resonate with you so much?
That's a great question, because when I was in the Army, I was found out by a group of Christian people that love to disciple men, and I was just laying in my bunk, and they didn't like me laying there. They said, "Jeff, you're a Christian. We want to disciple you. Get out of bed. Come play this soccer game with us today on the Saturday morning," when I wanted to sleep. And they drugged me around, and that kind of it caught on to my person. I wanted to be a more high functioning Christian, but I was lost in the blur of the Army, and there was no kind of fellowships around to be involved with and stuff. And this was one of them, and they were pretty hardcore. So I got discipled by these people, and so I became one of them, right? As I became this guy that's tested tough in the Army about my faith and stuff, and I really believed what I was all about. And I started leading my squad. I was a sergeant. Started leading my squad the way I thought that Christ would lead people, just caring for them and stuff. So out of the Army, and then all this time passes, and that's also the way I ran my departments and stuff, on the way up to be a president. And so when I saw these two people doing what I had gone through back in the Army, there's a coach on one side and a guy on the other, a Bible in the middle. And I thought, business, Bibles, and I said, sign me up, count me in, right? So I just threw my hat over the wall and just became a BBL chair, and they rebranded as Convene shortly after that. And so I've been doing that ever since. And so having that one-to-one relationship with people and making a difference, but spiritually, and in the Convene world, I'm a life coach, I'm a business coach, I'm a spiritual coach, I'm a marriage coach, I'm a, at whatever the scenario shows itself. And so I just love it, just to be really a significant factor in that person's life.
Yeah. It's remarkable. And having had a chance to meet all three of your teams, actually, I can tell you, I mean, just the caliber of person that's attracted to you is phenomenal. And there's something special happening. You walk into a room with a group of people, you can just tell, like, there's something special happening in some rooms and not in others. And it was definitely happening there. So what, I guess, that's from the outside looking in, but from the inside looking out, what do you attribute that to? I mean, you've been with Convene for going on 20 years now. Is that right?
Yeah, right.
And just put together three, and yet you transitioned one, but these tremendous groups of high caliber leaders. What do you kind of attribute that success to?
Well, that's a good question. So I am sort of a freeform sort of guy, and I read a book early on called "Driven to Distraction," and it described me. I'm easily distracted. So what I had to do, the answer to that was to put rhythm and structure in your life. And so I put rhythm and structure in my life, and took this guy that is really spontaneous and all over the place, and put some guardrails around that. And so I have what I call map and measure. I have a 1-page business plan and 1-page metrics that I have everybody get on that program, so that they have on 1 page what they're trying to get done long term, and what their values and mission and vision and everything, and then what their top things are to get done this year, what they're working on right now, who has what balls. It's all on that piece of paper. So that's on one side. I have a notebook I carry with me, sort of a file. Paper file. I'm a paper kind of guy. One side shows the map. That's the 1-page plan. The other side shows our conversations and the metrics. So I have a map and measure. So the map and measure kind of simplifies it all for me. Remember, I'm a simplicity guy. And so we have our conversations about what's going well, where you're struggling, how can I help, what's next for you, what's next to accomplish. And if they run out of things, because they go blank a lot of times, I take them out of their factory or whatever and sit them down in a room to do a one-to-one, and their brain's still in the factory. And so I had to say, okay, let's calm down. We're kind of open in prayer, try to focus. But if they can't do that, I go back to what is there in writing, what they told me before, what the history is and what the measurements are, and say, so it says here that something that's going really well is your sales. Your backlog is growing like crazy. Like what? And so what you're struggling with, you told me last time, was trying to find people. How's that going? So I have something to talk to them about. I typically have the gamut of personalities, the gamut of businesses, the spectrum in the room. I tend to have a great mix of really diverse people, and they grow together. And so I'm an encourager. I like to give high challenge because I'm a competitive guy. I'm not just anything goes is not going to happen with me. So I'm a competitive guy. So I'm going to really challenge them in the areas where I see their potential, because my purpose is to get them to find their potential in the kingdom. So where's your potential? I see all this latent potential. Let's go. And then I'm going to be there with high support also. So high challenge, high support. I don't try to protect people and say, oh, they're there. Like, I understand you were real busy, so you didn't get anything done. I tend to be sort of kind of a multifaceted coach. I don't just ask questions. I like to help with some pointers and stuff. But the real secret sauce of Convene is the group. I'm going to take this person and their troubles and stuff and give them some guidance, but then take them back to the group, and then we'll open up their little sandbox to the team and have the team help them too. So that's just super powerful, much more powerful than just me alone. So I have that secret weapon that I take people into that Convene group and they grow there. And it's the things that I facilitate, I don't cause. So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's great, because I think one of the challenges, and I think everyone's heard this, but until you become a CEO, you don't really know what it feels like. But I kind of grew up through the ranks of my organization, started the proverbial mailroom, checking emails and faxes, and became CEO of the organization. And had no real business doing that, but lucked into it. We'll put it that way. And I remember, when I was COO, which I was there for, in that seat for 5 or 6 years, there was a sense of camaraderie to the rest of the leadership team. But when I became CEO, like, that sense of camaraderie, same people, love them dearly, friends, and our friend relationship stayed the same, but our working relationship changed quite dramatically. And there was a sense of loneliness that really caught me off guard when I became CEO. And I've found that it's like that for a lot of CEOs, because there's just a lack inside of the organization for any type of peer relationship. Even if you're like, not holding it over anybody, but, and trying to be as kind of equal as everybody else, I'm like everybody else, you still are the 800-pound gorilla in every room you walk into, right? So in kind of light of that, why do you feel like the team, how do you feel the Convene teams help solve that, or do they? And why do you think that is?
I think it's absolutely true. And so even though I have this great toolbox, there's 20 years of successes and failures and thrill of victory, agony at defeat kind of thing. And so I have this great toolbox, and I come to the person and I say, you can do it. And they look at me and they're thinking, they might nod, but they're thinking, there's no way. I'm not you. You can't. You're this great, company president or something like that. This business owner. I'm trying to get it done. And so they might resist me a little bit. And I'm all for them. I'm encouraging them. I tell them that I'll walk to the end of the high dive with them and say, we're going to jump off together. Hold my hand, boo, and but what really happens is when they walk in the room and there's a guy that's they think is just like me, and that guy's doing it. That guy has passed this, this hurdle, this obstacle, and he's actually grown to the next stage. And why can't I do that? I mean, I can do that. And then we hang out together, me and that guy, and we go out to breakfast once in a while, and we visit each other's companies and stuff. And then pretty soon, that dynamic starts to disappear. But so I got over it a long time ago that I'm not all things to all people. I know that just because Jeff said doesn't make it so. But if John says, then and Jeff said, okay, well, I can believe that. Now I'm going to go ahead with it. And so, yeah, a lot of it is at the Christmas party, their wives will share, my husband was just so bad off, and then he found Convene and this, all this stuff. This has been such a blessing to our family and things and the business and everything just started to bloom when he found this group. And so, yeah, I can't put probably a nail on every, on every occasion, but there's something in that room for everybody, and if they'll stick with it, if they'll lean into it and not away from it, so they get a lot back. And you talked about in your prep about what differentiates the ones that really win and the ones that not so much. They're the ones that will really invest in themselves and really take it serious and really honor the other people in the room and listen to their input and not be so full of themselves like I did it all on my own, do it yourselfer kind of thing. I get rid of that and just start listening to what wisdom would say.
Yeah.
And that's a secret of I think that dynamic you're talking about.
That's excellent. Next question here is, again, you get to work with lots of different CEOs from different industries and different stages in their career and their business. In light of all of that, who do you think needs a business coach or needs to join a group like Convene, and why?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have, at one point in time, I used to say, Convene's for everyone. If you're not a great listener, if you think that your methods are, just kind of you're a self-made man or self-made woman, and you kind of left behind all that fundamental stuff you're going for, the skyrocket success and things. You've kind of grown out of so you're just not going to fit in the room. If you're not honest with yourself, you can't see yourself plainly. If you won't sit still long enough to hear feedback and take it, and instead of just being so defensive all the time, it's funny, but the people who understand fundamental growth can really grow and far from where they started. If they're looking for just the next rocket ship kind of success, and abandon all the fundamentals that help them to get there, then they're not going to go they're going to be a flash in a pan. They're going to be back, they're going to be a serial entrepreneur, because that they serially destroy companies or whatever. So if they'll go through the process of fundamentals and stuff, then they'll belong. If they are, it could be introverts or extroverts. You tend to attract people like you. So I have people in the room that are includers. They're positive. They tend to be a little extrovert. They like to have fun. They either come that way or they learn that in the room. So it's a long day to spend all the way, the whole day, if it's not fun. And so we can make it fun. It's very serious at times. There are tears at times, but everybody knows that this is a place where I can be real. And so if somebody can't be real, can't be transparent, can't be honest, can't share, can't make it about everybody else. Because if you're just going to be there, it's all about me, then it's going to get old for the group really, really quickly. Yeah, like, you're not available for the other people in the room, then you're probably not going to belong. And I've given up trying to take that person and make him into the person that fits in the room. And somebody early on told me that an empty chair is better than the wrong person sitting in the room. So I try to, it's a sort of a small, subtle thing, but it comes out in a big way in the room. So I try not to chase those people.
Yeah, excellent. All right. So the moment I've been waiting for, I think everyone's been waiting for, is this. I'd love to hear from you. What's the biggest secret that you wish wasn't a secret? What's the one thing that you wish every founder or leader listening today knew, either about themselves or leadership or how to grow their organization?
It's incredible, and I have an instant answer. It's always the same, and that is that the person at the top. Peter Drucker said the bottleneck is always at the top of the bottle,
Yeah.
and uh, so people are really slow to let go of things that they think are really important, but from the outside you look at, that's urgent, that's like a lower level kind of thing, that's not CEO duty sort of stuff. Why are you hanging on to that? And so they have all these people around them that are not being used to their potential. So it seems like it would be the very first thing that people would do, but it's the last thing people do. Get more out of your people, make your people successful, get more out of them, and quit trying to do everything, be all things to all people, to be the CEO. Because what they do is they tend to do a lot of what they felt really successful doing before.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to a land of leadership, which they haven't been to before. It's unfamiliar. They want to go back to doing, or maybe I'll get my hands on this thing, get dirty, or I'll be the guy driving the truck, or that, what. So stop. I know it's attractive. Do a little bit of it if you think that, you can't go cold turkey, but for the most part, get a lot out of every person, and then start being intentional about asking what it is that you want out of them, and help them grow to their same thing. That, mimic me. What I'm doing for you as a chair, do that for your people. Meet with them once in a while, once every 2 weeks, every month. Find out what their heart is. Find out how they want to develop. What is it that you need from them for your organization, and get it done through them, and let go. And you'll be amazed at the growth of your organization, the growth of your people, and you'll kind of stop complaining about how nobody takes any ownership around here. You haven't given any ownership to anybody. How could they be owners? Yeah. So that's the secret, and I see it time after time after time. And I almost need somebody outside your being to look back at you and say, dude, you need to let go. You are a control freak about this stuff. Yeah. So that's sadly sad but true, but it gives me plenty of stuff to talk about.
It sure does. It sure does. And I think that there's a couple of lies that I've bumped into even just today. Coaching session I was doing with someone this morning. And he's very much there, right? Recognizing that he needs to move forward. But folks can think it comes across as a controlling thing. This guy in particular, and I've seen it with a lot of my clients, is like they're trying to serve, right? They're doing it out of a place of if it needs to get done, I'm not above getting that done, right? I can go in and do it. But the reality of it is, yes, that's true. And like you said, from time to time, sure, get in there, roll your sleeves up, get your hands dirty. But if you're not doing the high level stuff that only you can do, who is?
Right, exactly. Who's president when you're driving the truck? Right. So, and what John Maxwell says, it's kind of one of those things where you go to the person and say, I've been doing this. I found out, like I shouldn't be doing this, but I want you to come with me. I want to show you what I do. And I want you to be that guy from now on, and just take them and do that old, first you do it and then I watch, and all that sort of thing. And then just, and do it in a way that's healthy for you and that person. And so you're not just throwing off responsibilities, you're actually bringing people on in their ability to be that person on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll see people flourish in that. It's counterintuitive, but it's remarkable how effective it is. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. All right, last question for you here. And that is, I've worked with a lot of coaches, enough coaches to know that we have a tendency to give our very best to our clients and not necessarily leave a whole lot left over for ourselves. And so we had a fascinating conversation just before we hit record here, where you talked about kind of this next phase for you and your work and your life. And I'd love to ask a question that I've asked everyone on the show, and that is, what does the next stage of growth look like for you as a coach, as a leader, in kind of whatever capacity you'd answer that?
That's a good question. My wife helps me to see that I'm way too busy, and I tend to be a hero. So I go, and heroes and rescuers, they rescue everybody but their family. Like they provide for everybody else, and their family's the last one to get help. And so I try to get out of that mode, long ago. But when I turned 65, my wife says, "Hey, like what do they asked me that basic same question. You have to know also that I'm a managing partner for a group called the Barnabas Group, which is ministry to ministries outside of Convene. So I'm doing that also. And I have all these things going. And I know that that time will allow you to get things done up until the boundaries of time. So what I did is I started with my my one-to-ones. I would cut the time length down. I had 40 one-to-ones a month. So I cut the time down to 1 hour. I saw from my experience that was even too long for some people. And I was really required by Convene going way back to do an extended one-to-one. So I just simplified everything, and I got everything done in 3 weeks. And then 5 years goes by, and I now getting everything done in 2 weeks. What I see in the future is kind of trimming down my Convene involvement and then expanding that nonprofit involvement. And then doing that, like a mentor of mine once said, as much as you can, when you can, where you can, with whom you can, and all those things, just and make it fun, make it like valuable to the people you're working with and stuff. So I never really see this place where I'm on the couch or fishing all day, every day. I'm going to be involved with people and try to help them with their nonprofit involvement. So just be a whole lot less, demand on me, and I have this value to them. And it's working already, and I can't wait to see it happen in an expanded way.
That's awesome. Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing. Now, you're actually our second Convene coach. Tom Lutz, who who's my Convene chair, has been on. So some folks may not have been sold by Tom, and maybe we understand why. I don't know. But all that aside, someone's listening and they're saying, "Hey, I want to learn more about Convene, or I want to connect with you." What's the best way that they can do that?
Well, they can come to me and my contact information. I think you have that. I would love to introduce anyone to the concept. I am, of course, in the Southern California area, but I will promote Convene for any chair that's out there and direct them to geographically either to our headquarters or and then just talk to them about where they are and what they think Convene might do for them. I would be happy to promote Convene to anyone geographically agnostic.
That's awesome. And for anyone who wants to connect, it's convenenow.com/Jeff Abbott, JEFFA, 2 B's, right? ABBOTT, JEFFABBOTT. And you'll be able to find more about Jeff, connect with him, and Convene there. And thank you for the offer to help folks out. I know that's much appreciated. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for your time. Absolutely loved having you here. It was just an honor beyond honors. And so thank you. And for everyone listening, your time and attention are the biggest compliment you could give. So thank you so much for hanging with us, listening to this conversation. I hope it was as helpful and encouraging as for you as it was for me. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.